Parents, staff, and students, I first want everyone to know that we miss you. We look forward to seeing some students back on campus in July and others in August. Last night, the LCSC Board of Trustees approved the 2021 re-entry plan for LCSC ECA and athletic participation guidelines. It has been reviewed and approved by Dr. Elison II, our Dearborn County Health Officer. These guidelines with full details are attached to this email. I strongly recommend everyone to review the guidelines and reach out with any questions. Here's a short summary of the guidelines. First, there are 10 general guidelines followed by 3 phases defined by the Indiana Department of Education and the IHSAA. A series of signatures will be required on a participation waiver, self-monitoring and safety agreement, transportation waiver, and IHSAA health history questionnaire and consent and release certificate. It is my understanding Mr. Pearson, the high school athletic director, will be loading these documents into final forms for high schoolers and parents to sign. CES and GMS families will need to print, sign, and turn in these forms. All forms must be signed and turned in prior to any participation. The general guidelines are summarized as follows. All summer activities are voluntary, with the decision for student athletes to participate made by parents or guardians. Staff, parents, or guardians and student athletes are expected to self-screen and monitor for any COVID-19 symptoms prior to arriving for any athletic activity. Details are included. Student athletes are to bring and only use their own water bottles and towels marked with their name and refill bottles at assigned locations made by the athletic trainers and/or coaches. Coaches are responsible for cleaning and sanitizing any equipment or facilities used by the team. All facilities usage by individuals and/or teams must be approved and scheduled in advance with school administration. All facility usage by outside individuals or groups will not be allowed until further notice. Parents will have the option to elect alternative transportation and will be responsible for getting them to and from activities and competitions, but student athlete self-transportation is not an option. School transportation will be provided, but will look like pre-COVID-19 with as much social distancing as possible and masks allowed. The guidelines are followed by 3 phases defined by the IDOE and IHSAA. Phase 1 is from July 6th through July 19th. A few points highlighted from in Phase 1 include student athletes limited to 15 hours per week on campus, only essential people should be in attendance, no locker room use, students should report to their activity in proper gear and return home to shower immediately at the conclusion. Restrooms will be available. Free weights using a spotter is not allowed. No contact is allowed for contact sports, and no formal competitions yet. Phase 2 is from July 20th through August 14th. Some highlighted points include everything from Phase 1 with the following changes. Student contact hours will not apply outside the Sunday rule. 50% usage of locker rooms, contact as defined by the IHSAA, free weight usage with a spotter is allowed, celebratory and sportsmanship acts which involve student contact with each other are not allowed, no formal competitions except girls golf. So in Phase 2, girls golf may begin competition. Phase 3 begins August 15th. Everything from Phase 2 with the following changes. Try to only use 50% of the locker rooms, but if this creates a hardship, it can be increased. Limit hospitality rooms to only prepackaged snacks. Modify sportsmanship practices. Competitions may begin in Phase 3. So on August 15th, all competitions may begin for fall sports. Spectators, media, vendors should implement social distancing. Concession stands may only sell pre-packaged food. These guidelines with full details are attached to this email. Again, I strongly recommend everyone to read the guidelines and reach out with any questions. Some additional information to share with everyone is that we are working on a return to school in the fall reentry plan. Committees have been working over the past few weeks on specific district and building plans, procedures, and protocols. We believe to best meet the students' academic, social, emotional needs, this will require the return of in-person and educational opportunities. We intend for students to return to school 5 days per week following our approved 2021 LCSC calendar, which has the first student day on Wednesday, August 5th. But please understand, possible revisions may need to be made to the calendar accordingly during the school year as conditions and knowledge transpires from our Department of Health, the Indiana State Department of Health, the Indiana Department of Education, or CDC. We will be offering options of in-person and virtual learning. Remember, we have experience in providing high quality and engaging virtual learning opportunities as we have been one-to-one with student devices for the past 6 years. And we've offered virtual learning opportunities at the high school through our online platform for the past 12 years as well. LCSC does not deploy a one-size-fits-all virtual model. We have diversified our online learning platforms based upon grade and content area that best meets the individual needs of our students. Our staff continue to refine their online instructional skills and learn from research-based best practices. A preliminary survey is being included with this email so we may begin our planning on engaging the interest at this time. This does not have to be your final decision. So please fill out the survey, letting us know at this time preliminarily if you would prefer virtual or in-person instruction beginning in August. K-12 online registration will begin on Monday, July 6th, as we do annually. All returning students will need to register to update their information and sign off on waivers and forms for the 2021 school year. Because we understand some families may still be deciding if they want to transfer to Lawrenceburg, we have suspended our transfer deadline at this time. But you still do need to complete a transfer application if you want to transfer to Lawrenceburg schools. Our goal is to release the approved re-entry plans for the fall on July 14th after Dr. Elison has reviewed them and the LCSC Board of Trustees approves them at their monthly meeting on July 13th. Thank you, and I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your summer. Be safe, and don't forget to post things on social media with the hashtag #LbergHope.